Look, the basis trade, the fact that it held up so well, and there's only been, at least to our public knowledge, one shop that blew up, is pretty remarkable in itself. So to me, that's not the real area of concern. I think more so, it's just what the impact and demand is going to be as a result of this uncertainty. There's lots of optimism in the market now that deals will be struck when it comes to trade. But if that doesn't eventuate, if there's another escalation in tensions again, then it'll be very, very interesting to see not only what happens with treasury yields, but real yields, inflation expectations and the like. Will there still be an appetite for longer dated debt? I'd probably suggest it would be a little bit weaker than you'd see right now. What it actually means for the economy and inflation. There's a bit of a push and pull factor right now. There's a concern out there that tariffs will go and lead to an increase in inflation, and there's still debate as to whether that will prove to be a one-off, transitory nature, or whether potentially could become a little bit sticky. A lot will come down to the economy. And there's deep concerns out there at the moment that we'll see a pothole in activity taking place in Q2 and beyond. So that might offset some of those inflationary forces and bring the Federal Reserve to cut rates at some point in the near future. It's really interesting. Those reciprocal tariffs that were put in place, to me, they were always being used as a negotiation tactic. So that was to go and get these trade deals struck. And when you talk about the likes of China, when you talk about the likes of Europe in particular, they run very, very big goods surpluses with the United States. So that to me is why it may going to take a lot longer to go and get those deals struck. Interesting is what happens with Japan as well, South Korea and India. We're talking about some of those treasury options earlier in the interview. There was some speculation and rumors out there that potentially, as part of a negotiation tactic to go and get these trade deals agreed in principle, that there would be willingness from those nations to go and support treasury options. Now, we saw a couple of weeks ago record indirect bidding, which is evidence of buyers internationally stepping up to the plate. So potentially, I don't know whether that's going to be the case. We get some more fresh options taking place next week of 3, 10, and 30-year debt. But that is very interesting as being potentially one thing to go and watch as well. What happens when it comes to indirect bids at those auctions? There's not a lot of alternative out there. We saw that money and capital when it shifted back to the likes of the yen, the Swiss franc, known safe havens as well. Gold had a very, very strong run. I think it's too early to go and write off the US as being that dominant safe haven area to go to in times of crisis. But clearly what we saw from markets was a shot across the bows that they did not like that the stance that Trump and his administration were taking when it came to those policy stance. We saw immediately, as soon as those reciprocal tariffs were delayed by 90 days, that a lot of those flows reversed. So that's going to be very instructive as to how the administration flows. We know that in the prior Trump presidency, he paid a lot of attention to the stock market. But to me now, just given the importance of the treasury market on the broader economy, borrowing costs, the mortgage market and the like, it really seems to me that Trump knows now knows, and Besant clearly is in his ear, that you cannot go and get away with trying to go and make policy on the run and not have any consequences. To me, it's too early to say it's going to be no longer a safe haven. But at the same time, if we go down that path continuously, then yes, it could be that case.